If you've been considering buying the LUMIX S1ii, the S1ii, or the S1R Mark II, well, you should probably get one before they sell out after today's firmware update. Massive news for LUMIX in general today, especially for the S1 Mark II cameras, because of the firmware update not eliminating but mitigating a ton of overheating issues that people have been having on the S1 Mark II cameras. So in today's video, I'm going to be diving into a couple of my own tests with the LUMIX S1ii and the LUMIX S1R Mark II. I didn't really feel like doing the S1ii just because it felt a little bit too redundant, but if you want me to do that, just let me know that in the comments below. Starting out with the overheating performance. LUMIX has been known for the S1 II cameras to overheat pretty fast. And a lot of people were questioning myself online, is this a hardware issue or is this a firmware issue? Considerably, it could be both, but with today's firmware update, it has really impressed me how much better performance you can actually be getting out of these cameras now. I do need to mention it is again a little bit more chillier everywhere around. I do live in San Diego, so it typically is warmer, but ironically, the week of this firmware update, it has been raining this entire week. But I did at least have one opportunity to do some outdoor tests in some warmer conditions. Granted, when it gets a lot warmer here, I'm going to be pinning these cameras a lot more into extreme tests over time, just so to give you guys more accurate information. But here's a couple of my results that I was really impressed by. All right, 58 minutes, direct sun, 70 degrees. Battery is about to die. Man, 5.1K, 48, come on. Starting off before even touching point on the test, the settings I have for all of these cameras is I am using Auto 1 for the fan performance, which Auto 1 versus Auto 2. Auto 1 basically is going to be proactively cooling down your camera versus Auto 2 is reactively cooling down your camera. And then I was using high thermal management to just have the camera be able to push its performance a little bit more than standard thermal management, kind of mitigating it a little bit more. I was actually using a CF Express Type B card that is in 1 TB by Angelbird, which is a non-rated CF Express Type B card from LUMIX, meaning the CF Express Type B card is known to heat up cameras really fast. I did also have a internal battery the entire time on all of my tests, meaning again, another point where the camera is more likely to overheat or heat up a lot quicker because I'm using an internal battery instead of a dummy battery powered by V-mount. The first test I did was on the LUMIX S1 Mark II in a 70-degree controlled studio or 21 Celsius in 5.1K 60 frames a second. Again, with internal batteries and all that jazz, but I did have the camera powered via USB-C, so I was sending power into the camera via a V-mount, and the camera ended up recording for 4 hours and 57 minutes, which without overheating until the V-mount basically died and the camera shut down because there was no more power to the camera. It was able to keep going. The overheating symbol did pop up though at around 1 hour and 32 minutes. So if you need to film open gate in 70 degrees in a controlled studio for an hour and a half, well, now you can do that. And again, with a non-rated CF Express Type B card nonetheless. The second test I did do was on the LUMIX S1R Mark II in a similar environment, around 70 degrees Fahrenheit or 21 Celsius. I was recording in 8.1K 24 frames a second, and the camera recorded for 2 hours and 20 minutes until the camera shut down due to overheating. Granted, this was an 8.1K on a non-rated CF Express Type B card. Sure, it was in 70 degrees in a controlled environment, but still 2 hours on a card that's known to overheat cameras is really impressive. It only took the camera about 4 minutes to cool down until the camera was ready to be used again. So for my personal use case scenarios, being able to even record in, again, 70 degrees, I know this is not gonna be outside in the direct sun and hot weather. When I have those conditions available for myself, I will be pinning these cameras to the test to kind of give you guys more insight. So if you do want to see those tests in the future, consider subscribing. The last test was in direct sun. Luckily, we did have a sunny day here in San Diego. Again, the 1 week we get a firmware update, it's raining here. But luckily there was a sunny day. It was around 70 degrees outside, and I was recording on the LUMIX S1ii in 5.1K 48 frames a second. Again, on a CF Express Type B card on the Angelbird, non-rated, whatever. With an internal battery, the camera recorded for 55 minutes until the battery died. No overheating symbol popped up, nothing like that. I didn't power it because I had a limited time because I'm leaving literally right after I filmed this video. I'm doing a 16-hour drive, but there wasn't enough time to film more tests. Granted, again, I do want to. What I do want to give context though for this test, even though the camera recorded for 5.1K, 48 frames a second outside in sunlight, 70 degrees, the camera, zero overheating issues whatsoever. The symbol didn't even pop up. Camera shut down due to the battery dying. I did this same test in similar conditions a few months ago, but I was recording in 6K open gate, 24 frames a second on the LUMIX S1ii with an SD card and powering the camera with a dummy battery with the V-mount and Rig It Pro covering the camera with the sun. So that, in the exact same setup and conditions, the camera in 70 degrees before the firmware update overheated in 6K 24 frames a second in about 24 minutes. Now, the same test with an internal battery, with a CF Express Type B card, direct sun, 70 degrees, 5.1K, 48 frames a second, I was able to do 55 minutes until the battery shut down with zero overheating symbols, zero overheating. Overall, really impressed with the new firmware updates on the LUMIX S1ii cameras, because it's just making these cameras way more valuable, way more trustworthy. Again, I'm going to be doing a lot more tests, and also like you guys watching a bunch of different people's results and tests once the firmware comes out later tonight from this channel's upload date, just to see how other people are experiencing the firmware update and different things like that. Anyways, love to hear your guys' thoughts on the overheating and all the other firmware updates on the S1 Mark II cameras. If you do want to see my thoughts on the LUMIX S1ii versus the S1ii before the firmware update, well, check out that video right there. YouTube recommends you might like this video right here. Until next one, guys, peace.